Jenny Horne is with us, host of Next Gen Investing. And of course, we have big news from Palantir. Let's take a look at that. Good morning, Jenny.
Good morning, Nicole, and a good morning for Palantir as it blew past these already really sky-high expectations for the second quarter report. So much to like here, but continued strength in the U.S. sales is driving hugely their revenue growth and staggering profitability. And I mean, they've been pretty honest about how enthused they were by even these numbers. CEO Alex Karp saying, "I've been cautious to be a little modest about bombastic numbers, but honestly, there's no authentic way to be anything but enormously prideful and grateful for these extraordinary numbers," was Karp's statement. So I liked that. We saw quarterly revenue, grow to over $1 billion for the first time, up 48% year over year, well ahead of expectations at around 38% growth. U.S. revenue, though, is up 68% annually. There's been a lot of focus on their contracts, of course, with the federal government, including that 10-year, $10 billion deal that consolidates about 75 contracts Palantir has had with the U.S. Army. U.S. government sales, to speak to that, were up 53% from last year. But as in the first quarter, the real star of the show was their second quarter U.S. commercial revenue that was up 93%. So amazing. They get less traction outside of the U.S. with commercial sales down about 3% year over year. But actually, international government revenue still remained up about 37%. Also, all this to say, Palantir is a different company than years ago. Now ended the quarter with about $6 billion in cash and cash equivalents. Third quarter guidance for revenue growth also was around 50% and for adjusted operating income growth of 80%. Just blowing past expected ranges of like 35% for revenue growth and 55% for their operating income growth. And also, they did raise now their annual 2025 guidance, this time by 6% on revenue and 12% for adjusted operating income. So I thought it was amazing the way Alex Karp was saying the legitimate question is, can you continue to keep this up for the next 5 years? And he said, the question is, how do you do that? The answer is simple. The unit economics of Palantir are upstream from the unit economics of their clients, and they want right now to pay to have financials that look like theirs. So he sees no real sign of this slowing. This has been major milestone after milestone for Palantir. The criticism of this name, of course, is its lofty valuation, but shares have traded, right now over the last 5 years, so significantly to the upside. The stock is even up 567% from just year ago levels. So that was the concern going into this report, but there's an important reminder that even with a high bar, if you're able to put up numbers, the street can still reward you.
Yeah, pretty amazing growth that we've seen, topping the $1 billion revenue for the first time, raising guidance. Great news from Palantir, also dodging the cuts that the administration has been making, in fact, getting more contracts from the government. That was also a positive for Palantir. Incredible growth, and the analysts are also jumping on board, too. So a lot of positivity surrounding this name. There doesn't seem to be any negatives this morning.
No, there really doesn't. And on average, analysts do have a price target that is below where we're currently trading at, around roughly $116 a share. But those do range pretty broadly. And I will say there's a reason that these earnings get attention, because we know that the swings in the stock following earnings has been pretty proven. They've reported now 19 quarterly results since going public, but they've beaten analyst expectations in revenue in all but one of those reports. But the reaction has actually been negative in 9 of those last, 19 reports. But altogether, stock move on average over the last 19 quarters has been up or down 16%. So this is, to me, a name like SoFi, Carvana, that it does generate almost this meme stock quality because of the volatility, but no longer really, at all meme stock status, as we can see just huge growth from its U.S. commercial and government contracts. And I think also signifying that the big, beautiful bill, yes, will reduce and hurt certain areas. There's still pockets that are going to be hugely beneficial. And it looks like Palantir right now has a great relationship with the U.S. government.
Yeah, pretty wonderful to see the growth and revenue there. In the meantime, I wanted to take a look at Taiwan Semi. A leak? Let's hear about this.
A really interesting story. So 2 former employees of Taiwan Semiconductor, as well as a third individual, have been arrested allegedly unlawfully obtaining trade secrets from the company, according to several media outlets that reported, basically citing these Taiwanese prosecutors. Former company employees are suspected of having attempted to gain proprietary data on 2-nanometer chip development and production while they were still employed. So after an internal investigation was conducted by the company and did find these individuals were part of these potential trade secrets. In response to the allegations against the former employees, the company did tell media outlets that Taiwan Semi does still maintain a zero-tolerance policy towards any actions that compromise the protection of trade secrets or harm the company's best interests. So, I mean, really fascinating story you just don't frankly see very often, but Taiwan Semi not really seeing a huge move to this piece of news, as it isn't really been detailed of what this means, where these secrets went. I mean, I think that would be the next question of like who obtained this information, which wasn't specified obviously in the report. But Taiwan Semi is actually still having a pretty nice year. We've pulled back about 3.75% from highs, but still up about 19% on the year and roughly 60% almost on a 12-month basis. So still a pretty strong, relatively more stable player in the overall AI hype that is still, I think, very much present in this market.
Yeah, I mean, as you noted, the stock reaction is somewhat muted. So the trade secrets or whatever is in this must not be so terrible, or else we might have seen more of a knee-jerk reaction, maybe. I can't be sure. In the meantime, as we talk about these chip stocks, I mean, NVIDIA got up to $183 in the last week and has been doing so well with pushing out the H20 chips. I mean, the group overall has still been the leader.
I mean, they have. And I think that for so long, we were so concerned about tariffs and pricing and some of these export controls where it didn't necessarily make sense because a lot of these companies are not really going to see a huge tariff impact at all. And frankly, after we got a lot of these, restrictions rolled back where we had companies projecting, billions of dollars that could have been lost because of some of these export controls, I think that the ability to shake off that news and sort of right size a lot of the momentum has been hugely why the market has been relatively so strong. NVIDIA right now, you can't see, I believe, all-time highs in the market without some participation from NVIDIA, at least on most days. And Taiwan Semi, I would argue, is equally as important to NVIDIA because it's the largest foundry of its nature. And for that reason, you need Taiwan Semi's supply chain and its company to be, fully operational for the great success of NVIDIA. But so far, that relationship has been strong. And we always argue with Taiwan Semi, there's not really a true competitor, maybe Intel in like the next 5 to 10 years. But for right now, trade secrets, not the headline you want, but there's not really a huge degree of competition that looms on either NVIDIA or Taiwan Semi.
All right, Jenny Horne, thank you so much. It's great to see you. Appreciate it. Good luck there to key names here.